All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people. Just like you and me and David Coverdale of Whitesnake. I'm David Coverdale. I don't have a good accent right now. Anyway, David Coverdale has expressed his exasperation at Deep Purple 4 years after the fact. See, it's a slow news day. You can tell it's a slow news day here. It's the day before the Armageddon United States election of 2020. We've got a case-demic that has gone into just full-blown crazy caseness, and Coverdale is here to tell us about how he was snubbed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. The Whitesnake frontman made the comments while speaking to Eon Music about the band's new album, Love Songs. We're talking about Whitesnake, not Deep Purple. Deep Purple don't do love songs. They don't do them. Whitesnake, they don't really do them either, but they got a couple of ballad-ish songs, or they probably have themed songs that would make a Love Songs album a little bit pathetic, actually. But, you know, you repackage something and maybe you can make some money off of it. Coverdale said that initially he wasn't going to decline the invitation, but it appears that Richie was going to turn it down, Richie Blackmore. He explained, I had been talking to Richie and we had been nominated before and we never got in, and I said, are you going to go? And he said, nah. And I said, well, I won't go then. Little solidarity between himself and Blackmore. Now, for context here, these guys played in Deep Purple from 73 to, I believe, 76. That's what it says here. Suddenly, Glenn Hughes and I were told, well, we don't want you singing with us, meaning that they could go, but they couldn't be up there on stage. Initially, I'd spoken to Ian about coming up, that's Ian Gillan, about coming up and singing the backgrounds of Smoke on the Water. Because originally they were going to close the show, apparently with that song. So that suddenly was pulled. They tried to stop us doing speeches, and my wife was bleeping furious. Well, you got to let David Coverdale talk. I mean, he's got a lot to say. Sometimes he says some really stupid crap too, but let him up there and let him talk, because it's David Coverdale. The chicks dig him. Nobody's going to keep us off. I got in touch with Carol, Richie's manager, and I said, tell him to come with me. Nobody's going to bleeping touch him. Tell him to come with me, and he didn't want to do it. Seems like Richie is a bit of a diva. See, and that's the knock on Richie. So you replace Richie with Steve Morse, right? Steve Morse, who doesn't complain, who likes to be in the band, who is a brilliant guitarist in his own right, and has won tons of awards as a guitarist. You know, he was a guitar player's guitar player. And then he gets into Deep Purple, and yes, his style is almost 180 degrees different than Blackmore. And Blackmore has his claim to fame. I mean, he invented the coolest riff in rock history, in my estimation. Or one of them, but I would say right up there as the coolest. And if you rank it as number one, I'm with you. You can rank it number 3 or number 5, but Smoke on the Water is just, if I'm going to learn how to play guitar, I'm going to learn to play that song because it's just so cool and everybody knows it. So anyway, his big question to all of this was, what the bleep was up there bleep? All right, and again, I'm doing PG-13 or G rating here for our younger audience that might be tuned in. I do say boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, so you never know. So he goes on, so we didn't get to jam, which was fine. We were back doing press while they were performing, just having a good old time like the Unrighteous Brothers always do. So, making a final point about Blackmore's towering contribution to Deep Purple, David said he doesn't give a bleep and he knows he was responsible for the majority of their music, and it's true. None of us would have been on that stage without Richie Blackmore. None of us. Keep in mind, Steve Morse has been with Deep Purple for a longer period of time. And these guys, they got tired of dealing with this kind of crap. And I'm just saying. And by the way, this article from blabbermouth.net fails to mention that the boys, Deep Purple, they have a new album out called Whoosh. Came out back in June or July, and it's fantastic. And they've been doing this, by the way, since Richie left the band. The problem is radio doesn't give a crap, doesn't give a bleep about Deep Purple, and they should. I mean, every year when these guys come out with an album, and they come out with albums frequently, and it's great music, and it belongs on mainstream rock. It doesn't belong on top 40 or your blues station or your smooth jazz station. It belongs on a real rock station because it's real rock. And this guy here, he's a pretty good guitar player, Steve Morse. It's just the rock media, all they do is talk about Blackmore and Coverdale. They do talk about blackmail too, I was going to say. But it's just the same old names, the same old feuds, the same old problems, and people are just, okay, rubbing their hands together. What's David Coverdale going to say about Deep Purple? And there you have it. So, again, Whitesnake has a new album coming out called Love Songs. You might want to pick that up. It's not a new album. It's a compilation of all of their lovey-dovey songs. And Deep Purple has a real rock album out right now called Whoosh. And apparently Deep Purple is still going to continue, despite the case-demic and despite that the world is ending. They are going to continue making music. So I will be looking forward to that. And who knows, maybe David Coverdale will be croaking and yelping out some new songs in the next year or two as well. We shall see. Until then, we will just wait. All right, I am done. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Patreon, I need some new patrons. Every time the first of the month comes along, you lose some patrons because they realize, gee, I signed up for that Patreon thing. And, you know, if you're doing it for a one-time thing, I'm not going to tell you not to do that, but if you'd like to subscribe, it's $1 a month, and that's all I'm looking for. And if I could get like a third of my subscribers to do that, or a fifth, or a tenth of my subscribers to do that, let me see, I'm trying to add up the numbers here. Yeah, if I could get a tenth of my subscribers to give $1 a month, I probably would stop asking for money. So, if you can help me out, great. I understand. Things are very tough out there. And after tomorrow, who knows, they might get even more difficult. So, hang in there, and thanks for watching. See you soon.